Can you believe that 94% of you, nearly 94% of you, are not subscribed to this channel? Please make sure you subscribe right now. What is up, guys? This is David from Banter, and this is the very first episode of Hot Takes, addressing your guys' hot takes from the comments below in our videos. And if you want to be featured in the next Hot Takes episode, make sure you leave your hot takes down in any video you want with the hashtag Hot Take, and I'll make sure to include you in the next episode. And boy, do we got some very, very interesting hot takes. First one coming from Anthony. He said, nothing is going to happen in the offseason. Cashman is going to be back. Aaron Boone's going to be back. At most, maybe one or two moves. And then he said, look at these playoff teams. We are nowhere close to any of them. Now, Anthony, thank you so much. Shout out to you for being the very first hot take. And I tend to be more of an optimistic Yankee fan. And I can agree with you and disagree with you on this hot take in two ways. The one way I could actually disagree with you on is I don't think that nothing's going to happen. But at the same time, I agree with you that Cashman and Boone are going to be back. It doesn't look like there's any conversations or any stirring of the pot that Aaron Boone or Cashman are going to be gone. And I know there's a lot of Yankee fans that believe for as long as Cashman's with the Yankees, we're never going to win a World Series. Now, I never want to say there's a 0% chance in anything. There's a possibility for everything. Now, I do believe that Cashman isn't going to make it easy for us to win a World Series, but I do think it's possible. Do I believe Cashman should have been fired a while ago? Yes, I do. Do I believe Aaron Boone is the best Yankee manager or the best manager ever? No, I really don't think any manager is the perfect manager either. It's not an easy job, but that doesn't mean I don't think that something's going to happen this offseason. It looks like the Yankees are already at work pretty heavily, and I do believe they're going to get at least one big name. I'm really betting and believing in Yamamoto. I feel like if they don't get him, then it's a waste of an offseason. So I do think they'll make one or two moves. I do think they'll make more. But where I also agree with you on is that when I was watching the NLCS, the ALCS, and now even the World Series, I agree with you. These teams, they feel like they're on a league on their own. Obviously, they're deserving to be in the playoffs. But I'm thinking if we were in the team that we have right now, if we were to go up against any of these teams, I'm not feeling good about how we would leave that series. So I also agree that there is a lot of work that the Yankees need to do, and that there's a huge gap between us and a playoff contending team and a World Series contending team. But I don't think nothing's going to happen. So I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic. Thank you so much for your comment. I do see where you're coming from, though, because it is very, very discouraging with how the Yankees have handled their off seasons and even trade deadlines in years past. But something definitely feels different. They are saying they're changing things up, and Aaron Judge is stepping in, Garrett Cole stepping in. So I'm believing that something is definitely going to change. It may not be Cash and Boone, but something definitely will change. And I do believe we're going to acquire some big, big pieces this offseason. Thank you so much for your comment. And now the next one, Angel Serrano. Shout out to you, man. I see your comments a lot down in the videos. You said Bellinger is nice, but after only having one good season and 3 other so-so seasons, I'd rather sign Jun-Ho Lee. He's more consistent, high batting average, doesn't get hurt as much, and he's young at 25 years old. Excellent fielding skills in the outfield. Now, I really love this take. I haven't done an episode on Jun-Ho Lee. Let me know in the comments if you want me to. But looking back at Cody Bellinger's tenure, I absolutely agree with you. I have a video discussing about Cody Bellinger, and that really one of the biggest downsides is not even the money he's going to ask for. It's not even for the length of the contract. It's none of that. It's not even his injury history, because I think he doesn't have a large injury history. It's really just about what Bellinger are we going to get? Are we going to get a batting average Bellinger? Are we going to get a slugging Bellinger? Are we going to get a Bellinger that does neither and declines severely? I said that Bellinger feels a little bit like a Carlos Rodon, where he has good seasons and then he has bad seasons. So I agree with you in that sense. It's a pretty good gamble on a player, but if it does work out, man, is he a perfect puzzle piece for this team. But on the other side, wanting to sign Jun-Ho Lee, he absolutely is more consistent. It shows in his resume. He has a very high batting average, though I don't believe that batting average will translate perfectly into the majors because obviously the Korean League is much, much different from the major leagues. And I know you said he doesn't get hurt as often, but he did go through an injury the second half of last season, which kind of sucks. Don't know how severe that injury was, but he did miss a good amount of games. Now, I'm not saying he's injury prone player by any means or that we shouldn't go after him because of this, but it is something to consider. So he's not perfectly healthy, but absolutely he's young at 25 years old, which is amazing. I really love that as one of the most promising things about Jun-Ho Lee, that even if he does struggle coming into the majors, he has a few seasons or at least a season just to kind of get acclimated to the majors, and then he's still young at 26 or 27, stepping into his prime and getting comfortable with the majors. So I do really like that aspect about him, and I do believe he has very solid fielding. So I do like this take a lot. Shout out to your hot take. And I would not be mad at all if the Yankees go out and get Jun-Ho Lee over Cody Bellinger by any means, especially because I do believe Jun-Ho Lee will be asking for a little bit less than Cody Bellinger, and we would be getting a younger player and a player that still has a pretty high ceiling. We just don't necessarily know where that will land in translation to the majors from the Korean League. And now moving on to the third hot take. Mac Miles 278 says Soto. Now, yes, best hot take I've ever heard, I've ever seen. Nothing needs to be said more or less. Soto, just Soto. Yankees, get Soto. Now, I would say I want him in. I'm warming up to a trade with him, but I'm still kind of leaning towards a offseason signing into next year. Take this season, not to necessarily retool or rebuild, but take this next season to sign the players we need, see where we land, and then reevaluate again and go get Juan Soto and whoever else we may need. So then by 2025, we are doing all that we can to guarantee a ring. And now lastly, Chris says that the Yankees should get Bellinger, Yamamoto, Nolan Gorman, Dylan Carlson, and Donovan. 5 guys, 5 big, huge acquisitions, some bigger than others, of course. Now let's go down the list. Bellinger, should the Yankees get him? If you look at my top 5 best moves the Yankees could make, he's on that list. He's not the number 1, but he is on that list. I do believe that the Yankees should absolutely consider it. I'm leaning more towards yes than no. And then Yamamoto, absolutely. That's my number 1 move I believe the Yankees should do. If there's nothing else that the Yankees are going to do, even though there's a lot they're going to have to do, but if there's nothing else the Yankees are going to do, they better at least get Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Do whatever you can. And then Nolan Gorman. Now, I see him as a solid option. I'm not super ecstatic by him. I would rather go for a guy like Brendan Donovan, which you've also mentioned. I don't see how Gorman and Donovan would fit in, especially with us already having a lot of infield position like players. And then we also have Dylan Carlson, which I do not want. I don't want a mid-tier or, in my opinion, I think a below average type of player like, or offensive bat like Dylan Carlson or even Kiermaier. Sorry for you to catch a stray, Kevin Kiermaier, but we do not need those type of guys. Now, unless your logic is that you're going to get Dylan Carlson for some chump change and he's just going to simply be your fourth outfielder, and he's just going to fill in until we get Jason Dominguez back, I could live with that logic. Again, if we're getting rid of essentially nothing, but I don't want Dylan Carlson to take away from our big moves this offseason. Let this be one of those low-key moves that the Yankees makes just to add depth. But even by then, I think I would rather have Florial than Carlson, seeing how Florial, with consistent playing time at the end of last year, was showing some solid numbers. So Chris, yes to Bellinger, yes to Yamamoto. If I had to pick an answer, I would say no to Gorman, just because I'm saying yes to Donovan and then definitely no to Carlson. Like the hot take though, if the Yankees were to get all of these guys, it would definitely indeed be a huge offseason, and it would be so interesting to see what this Yankee roster would look like and what productivity they'll bring out on the field if they acquired all these guys. Thank you guys. Shout out to all of you guys, Mac, Chris, Angel, Anthony. Thank you guys. Shout out to you guys for being the very first on the Hot Take episode 1. For those, again, that want to be featured in the next episode, comment down below on this episode or any other episode with your hot takes. Any and every hot take I will address that is Yankees related. Make sure you add hashtag hot takes into the comment so then I can make sure I address it in the next episode. The most juiciest and the very best would be featured in the next episode. So I'm looking forward to including you in episode 2. Hey, what is up, guys? If you liked this episode, please make sure to like it, comment down below, and subscribe. And watch what YouTube suggests would be a great video for you. You're not going to want to miss all the latest Yankees news and topics going on. Listen, Judge wants you to subscribe. The Martian wants you to subscribe. So make sure you do. And until next time, peace and be blessed.